Good evening, friends, neighbors, and fellow Goffstown residents. I'm Joshua Douglas, and I'm running for Select Board. So I would like to thank the Lions Club and the library for putting this evening on. I think that we can all appreciate that this has been very informative to everybody here in Goffstown. It has been to me for years. And as for those that are here in the room and also watching at home, I'd like to spend a little bit of time telling you about myself, why I'm running, and what you can expect from me as we move forward if I'm elected. I don't plan on spending a lot talking about my bio. You can get that directly from the QR code or from the booklet if you like. But what I would like to tell you is that growing up, I didn't necessarily have a lot of money. In fact, we grew up where I stood in line for milk and cheese back when we had a major recession back in the early 80s. And my dad was embarrassed about the fact that he had to go and get help as a family. So in order to take care of that, what he did is he went back in the military at 35. And I learned a lot from that. I spent a lot of my youth on military bases and actually learning the values of the family as a whole. And what I carried with me and what was instilled in me is that you should always carry yourself with dignity. You should treat people with respect. And you should also keep your word and have the foresight to have continuous hard work at hand to get to where you want to be. Excuse me. I've tried to live by those tenets collectively throughout my life, even when I actually went to go get both of my degrees. I worked for those myself. I paid for them by myself because I didn't have the money. So I worked 3 jobs for my first degree and actually went to school full time to make that happen. So then I met this wonderful person as part of that process. Her name is Robin. She's been my life partner. We've actually had 3 amazing children. She's been my rock. She's kept me in check. But what is amazing, and when I came to this town 22 years ago, Robin and I actually lived in Manchester at the time. We had a drug dealer to the left of us. We had a drug dealer to the right of us. And we decided that's not where we wanted to have our family grow up when we actually had our first child being conceived. And we found this town because we went through a lot of other towns throughout New Hampshire, and what we found is they didn't have the services that this one had. Didn't have the library, didn't have the recreation center, didn't have the great people in the community that we found here. So what we did is we moved here. We found a house that actually was far more than probably what we could afford. And not only that, we knew the taxes were much higher than what we expected they were going to be compared to the other towns, but we knew that this town was the best. And as part of that, I'm glad that we did that, because when we found roots here near 93 Center Street, which was our first house, because we're now on our second one, what we found was in the first year we were here, you guys probably know it as Glen Lake Kindergarten. It was being voted on. It was the very first year. There were a lot of people in town that didn't want that. And they didn't want it because the demographics, well, they were a little bit different there. Some of the people were older. They were probably in their 40s, 50s, you know, that sort of thing. Probably like my age, actually, is what I should say. And because of that, the second year it was voted on. People actually found value in that. And we actually got that kindergarten. And people started to grow, and the entire town grew with it. And because of that, my 3 children went through all levels of school here, which is quite fantastic. And every year we've continued to volunteer as a family and give back, which is exactly what we'd like to continue to do here. So we did all of that, and you know, I'm glad that we did it. We've actually worked ourselves up, and we made a good life here. So why am I running, you're probably asking? It's quite simple. It's because I want to give back to the community that's given to us, and I think it's important that we all do it. What you may not also know is that a lot of Goffstown residents actually donated a lot of the buildings, the library, the police station. Those weren't tax dollars. Those were hardworking Goffstown citizens like yourself. So to be transparent, what I've decided to do is that I'm going to run as an independent. I've actually decided that I'm not going to take any PAC money either. So you should be asking all those questions of the other candidates as well. So if you want somebody that has a sense of humor, is hardworking and honest, then you should vote for me, Joshua Douglas, for Select Board. In addition, if you'd like to meet me, you can meet me on March 2nd from 9 to 11 at the Oddfellows. And I welcome all of you to continue to vote March 11th and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.